Broncos 33, Saints 10. New Orleans Saints fall to 2-5. The Dennis Allen era needs to end. But will it? The backdrop. Off the bench, Saints with T-Bob, Hebert and Jacob Hester. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm assuming this is the response from off the bench to the shellacking of the New Orleans Saints by the Denver Broncos on Thursday Night Football. Now, it's interesting in these situations because every show, has an expertise, or every show has what they're bringing to the table, of course. And I think something that off the bench brings to the table in a situation like this is these are two guys who played the game at a very high level. Like Jacob Hester was in NFL locker rooms for a long time. T-Bob, long playing career. Okay, played at LSU. So when effort and locker rooms and culture and all of that starts to get brought up, I love to hear what these guys have to say. Because, I have an idea of like when people say a team has quit or all of that, I have an idea of how it's going, but I didn't play in the NFL. Okay, Jacob Hester did. So I'm hoping or interested to see what Jacob has to say. I hope they talk about that in this video. The idea that the team has quit on Dennis Allen, or the idea of losing a locker room or whatnot.
Like a horrifying train wreck of a movie that is so bad that it's good. I mean, look, no, I'm not saying that. To be clear, I'm not saying it's so bad that it's good. What it is it's so bad that there is actually no point in investing any emotion in it.
That is an interesting way of looking at this. And it's not wrong. Like the Saints game last night was so bad or the Saints performance recently has been so bad that it's impossible to be like, James, what do you think about Nick Saldiveri? It's like, brother, I can't even, I don't know. Like, I can't even come up with an idea of a response because, like T-Bob said, it's so bad. Like, how do I even come up with like what's good, what's bad, what needs to change? It's all just horrific. It all just needs to change. It all just needs to be out of there.
I mean, if that's what you want, Saints leadership, you done got it. Because nobody gives a damn. Yeah. Everybody left that stadium. I'm stopping at my Mary Lee's off of Perkins this morning getting donuts for the kids. Shout out. And my guy's one of the biggest fans, Louisiana sports fans I've ever met. Hold down all the LSU games, all the Saints games. They stayed just for Drew at halftime. Then they took off. Evan Sachs, very funny Twitter follow. Again, one of the biggest Louisiana sports fans I know. He says, I never leave Saints games early. If I don't stay until 0-0-0, it's because I thought the road team's fans were being obnoxious, which was the case tonight. However, I left with 8 minutes left. That was unbelievably lifeless.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Saints leadership. You want to be, you want to be cocky. You want to stay the course. You want to be Marie Antoinette up there in your gilded tower telling us, the common people, let them eat cake. All right. But don't be surprised when that anger turns to apathy and sales go down and you don't make as much money and you.
This is as apathetic I've seen the fan base in maybe ever. As far by ever, I mean since Peyton and Breeze arrived, because obviously it wasn't apathetic then, and last year was less apathy and more anger, I guess. This is straight up apathy. Like, I heard a lot of people in the stands that were saying, I am not doing this again. I was at the Sazerac bar in the Roosevelt Hotel after the game, and the overall feeling from Saints fans in there was just general, like, depression, general sadness, general just, like, almost like they just watched, like, their dog get put down or something, where no one was saying, like, how do we fix this? No one was saying, like, can we turn the season around? It was more just like, I can't keep doing this to myself. It's more just like, we're just kind of done. We're just kind of over it. We're just kind of, do something else on Sundays.
Do long-term damage to the brand, because that's what's at play right now. God, that game was awful. What's up, though, guys? How we feeling this morning? What's up, Jake?
It was so bad, I almost forgot that was last night.
Yeah, because it was. I mean, it was
so
just
bad. You try to clear that from your memory bank. It was horrid Offensively, defensively, special, like you name it, all three phases, you got outclassed by an okay team at best.
Yeah.
Like a very
I don't think so. As far as like an okay team. Okay to me is average. I don't think Denver is average, and I don't think most people think Denver is average. I think most people would have Denver in that like 24th-ish team in the NFL. 20th at absolute best. I would say Denver is below average. I would say Bo Nix is bad. I would say Javonte Williams and Jaleel McLaughlin are pretty bad. I would say their defense is good, but the Giants' defense is good too, right? So, we'll see how far that gets you. But, yeah, I mean, just kind of and I've talked about this before, but like the idea that the Saints have stepped up in competition, that's why they're struggling since Dallas and Carolina. Like, I think Dallas is better than Denver. If not, they're the exact same. And you don't go on the road and beat one team by 40 and then lose to same caliber of team by 30 at your place. So something else is afoot.
average team that just got dominated at home by the Chargers.
Yeah.
And they come into your building and dominate you. It's over, like as far as this year. You said it last week and you were right, but it's like, okay, well maybe they no, it's done.
So it was done after last week. It was done after last week, and then Debo leaves the game with injury last night. You got 33% of the roster injured. It was done.
See, again, I think if you beat Denver and you're 3-4, and if Carr can come back and you can be 5-5, somewhere in that neighborhood at the 10-game mark, like you got a shot. You got a shot at 9 wins, get hot, 10 wins. Everything's kind of in front of you there. Now, the season's over now. Like there is no playoff push, division push. Now it's okay, how do you salvage what do you salvage from the wreckage and how do you march forward?
The only thing that I hate though, Jake, is that because the injuries have gotten so ludicrous in their volume, now that's the thing that Saints leadership is going to use as an excuse to ride this tidal wave of anger.
I don't think so.
Where, if we're being honest, the team wasn't ruined because they had 13 injuries, 15 they're ruined because they had 2. And that's a badly built team. Like, they were already cooked after Eric McCoy went down.
Yeah, they were cooked. Yeah, I agree with that part. Like, McCoy and Hill, the team was cooked when those 2 players went down. Yeah, Lemieux getting hurt and Patrick getting hurt and all those, Olave and Rashid, that didn't help. But, yeah, McCoy and Hill completely cooked the team. So, yeah, I agree. But I do not agree that the injuries will be like a life raft where they can just say, like, oh, well, we were injured. We'll be all right. That's not the case. Because you have to change the roster because of the way that the contracts are and the way that the Saints team is. So you can't just sit there and say, well, we had injuries, so we'll be better next year because most of those players aren't going to be here next year. Like Taysom won't be here next year. Mario Davis won't be here next year. Cam Jordan won't be here next year. Alvin Kamara won't be here next year. Tyrann Mathieu. Like the list goes on and on. Paulson and Debo. So there is no let's just wait until next year when they're all healthy. That's not even possible.
You can't be one player away from failing. A quarterback, okay, we'll accept quarterback. Outside of that, you cannot construct a roster that is one player away from failing. And that's basically what this was.
Yeah.
And they taste him as well, right? But then things get overwhelming. And yes, it looks like a preseason lineup that you have out there yesterday. And what I hate is that now, though, that empowers everybody there to make excuses in the front office when really the team was already cooked way before the injuries started to cross into ludicrous range.
I also, another reason I don't think they will do that is because the team has plummeted to so bad. If we finished 8-9 and we were relatively competitive, you could say okay, we had some injuries. If we weren't playing with a preseason lineup, we probably win 9-10 games. Okay. But if you're a 4-win team, a 5-win team, 3-win team, you can't say, oh, we were injured. It's like, brother, we're 3-14. We're 5-12. We're the 4th pick in the draft. That's not a viable excuse. So, if we were the 19th defense in the NFL, if we were below average, but we're the 32nd defense in the NFL. So I don't think that is an excuse.
Yep.
They've gone plaid, to quote Spaceballs. The Saints' injuries have indeed gone plaid. It's insane. Feel like freaking Rick Moranis holding on for dear life. Somebody just hit the stop button. And you know me, I'm a big enjoy the journey guy. We only get so many Saturdays and Sundays before we die. But this freaking sucks. That guy in the Life After Drew paper bags with the 2 thumbs down, he nailed it. He nailed it. Because that is Saints fandom.
How I didn't watch halftime. How'd the chant go?
They didn't show it on TV.
Oh, man.
I know.
After all that?
Didn't go well, by the way.
I know. I talked to somebody in the stadium. They said it went well. You know, it was on the screen. It actually wasn't hard to keep track of.
People were apathetic. I was getting dome dogs at the time. The product was so bad at that point that the fans were pretty much checked out.
But unfortunately, the nightmare scenario that we talked about yesterday came true, right? We said, what if it's like 17-0, and they have to do that? What was it 16-3?
It was.
Yeah.
Basically, that just gross.
Horrible.
I mean, it's funny. I mean, that's how much Drew meant, is that I think a lot of people went and stayed just for that.
The best part of the game was Drew running out of the tunnel at the beginning. That was it. That was the best part of the game, and then it completely fell apart.
And they were just like, all right, we're out of here.
Yeah.
To quote Kirk Cousins, you let Sean Payton walk up in your trap and steal your trap.
He did.
Yeah.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm going to watch out with Kirk.
Unreal.
Kirk out there.
I don't even have to care about Kirk anymore, though, because, like, nothing matters. Like you
I'm
suck.
not saying like this show, like, because, you know, we once had a debate where it was 3-on-1 that people told me Derek Carr was better than Cousins.
He still is. Just bad hand. Got dealt a bad hand, dude.
It was not 3-on-1.
Kirk's got a better support staff.
No, this is.
Oh, okay. I was about to say.
This is when they signed Derek Carr.
It was not 3-on-1.
Yeah. This was pre-Alondra and Taylor.
Kirk Cousins is still going to disappoint you. Let's not be crazy.
Yeah, I mean, and man, it's been such a weird. That is one of the things that I've been really surprised with is a lot of people coming out of the woodwork who are like, "See, I told you." And it's like, you told me what? Like, you told me that 8 starters were going to get hurt. You told me that Connor McGovern was going to be the starting center. You told me that Bub Means and Cedric Wilson and Mason Tipton were going to be the wide receiver core for a primetime game. You told me that Spencer Rattler was going to be starting in week 6 because of injury. Like, before the season, if you would have told me before the season, we will have Mason Tipton, Bub Means, and Cedric Wilson as our 3, our wide receivers. And our offensive line consists of Connor McGovern, Nick Saldivari, Cesar Ruiz is hurt, Eric McCoy is hurt, Derek Carr is hurt, Taysom Hill is hurt, Chris Olave is hurt, Rashid Shaheed is hurt. I would have said, yeah, this team is pretty bad. Like, this team is a bad preseason lineup. Our preseason lineups were better than this team. That is a fact, Jack. That is a fact. 100%. Our preseason lineups were better. So I think that narrative is kind of weird. You know, like, the narrative is like, see, I knew this offense couldn't keep up what it was doing in the first 2 weeks. So they didn't even have a chance. This offense didn't even have a chance to keep up what it was doing in the first 2 weeks. Because on the third play of the game in week 3, Eric McCoy goes down, and then it's just injury after injury after injury after injury. Would the offense have continued scoring 40 points a game? No, but they would not have dropped to this. You know, the team would not have dropped to this if the team would have been healthy. Would they probably drop to a 9-win, 10-win team? Yes. Would they have dropped to a 3-win, 4-win, 5-win team? No.
Like, he'll play very well in the regular season. He'll lose every primetime game he plays in, and he'll lose in the playoffs. But he'll put up ball and stats. He'll put up awesome stats and probably make the playoffs, to be fair.
Yeah.
At least they'll win in the season.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, no, he's obviously better than Derek Carr.
Okay.
That's
Thank you. That's the first time you've ever said that out loud.
It's not a question.
But how crazy is it that we're having this conversation? Like, Derek Carr hasn't played in 2 weeks. Why are we talking about if Kirk Cousins is better than Derek Carr? Like, that is a non-issue currently.
Well, it was.
It was, but it's not now. You got to keep up, Launder. Stuff moves fast in
keep
this
up.
business. Stuff moves fast in this business. I know you're kind of new to it, but, look, you got a head on a swivel, right? You ain't blindsiding me, girl. I've been at this for over a decade, and I ain't never seen no crap like what we seen last night.
Like, spoiler alert, ladies and gentlemen, but the Derek Carr era in New Orleans is over. And, again, to no fault of his own, really. It just kind of is what it is. Carr might play the rest of the season. Like, once he gets back, if he's healthy, if he plays week 9, he may finish it out. But he will be one of the cap casualties. He will be one of the how do we maneuver and how do we move the monopoly money in order to get out of his contract. So, do I like Derek Carr? Yeah. I believed in Derek Carr. I think Derek Carr was good this year. I think he played pretty well. I think Derek Carr was in line to have a pretty successful season. But it is what it is. And if Allen gets fired, that's Carr's guy. Bring in a new coach. Mickey will probably have to start looking at the books. Can't imagine Carr is going to be there. So this book, this chapter of the Saints lore is closed before it ever really got a chance to get going. It's very similar to like the Jameis Winston chapter where, to no fault of his own, Jameis just got hurt, bad time, wrong place, and that was it. And Carr got hurt, wrong place, wrong time, perfect storm against him, and they'll move on from him. Alvin Kamara, hard to imagine they will restructure, re-sign him, and he'll be on the team next year. Will he be on the team to finish this season is the question. The trade deadline's in 2 weeks. So I love Alvin Kamara, one of my favorite Saints of all time. But the chapter is over. The chapter is closed for this part of the New Orleans Saints history. And now it's on to what's that next chapter look like?
33-10. And really, the only score in 90 yards at the end came when they put their back.
33-3. Yeah.
Really 33-3 and about 200 total yards.
Yeah. And so don't allow that last second touchdown drive. Like, don't be like, Jake Haener.
Yeah, absolutely not. Yeah, you got to be wearing your Real Monster onesie pajama set with your little footies, tip-tap-toeing into your computer room, slobbering all over your keyboard and typing in the comments if you think that drive meant anything. That is a defense that's walking through the motions, trying not to get hurt, don't look at me like that, T-Bob, trying to get the game over with. You got a Saints offense who's just trying to sling the ball around, and so that drive, nothing. Absolutely nothing on that drive.
NFL backups.
Jake Haener, Tay-Tay? Huh?
If that's your take, I'm just going to tell you why. I'm not even saying anything negative about Jake Haener. In that situation, I have been in games like that. NFL backups, like when you do wholesale changes, like, hey, put the backups in, they've got literally 0 reps together during the week.
Yeah.
Backup.
That's what I'm saying. Like, nothing is Haener. It's just the situation. It's like they are trying to get off the field, keep the clock running, on to the next one. Yeah, nothing against Haener.
Ups in the NFL, man, you might get 6 guys on defense that got 3 reps with the ones this week. So, like, when you see them drive down the field and Jake Haener's balling, like, don't allow that to cloud your judgment of what Jake Haener can be. I'm not saying he can't be a good football player, but don't base it off that drive.
No. I'm not saying by any means that he's, like, the savior of the season. Just like, how much worse could it possibly get?
Yeah, no.
I mean, are we really
thinking
quarterback?
Are we really thinking Spencer Rattler, like, that was the reason why you lost? I'm not saying that he played.
Yeah, I'm with Jake on this one. This is an absolute horrific take. The idea that, like, switch to Haener or Rattler's the problem, or, like, it just is what it is. Like, you got to kind of ride this out. Kubiak made the decision that he wants to see what Rattler has, so see what he has, and that's it. And just use it as live reps, use it as development, and play him until Carr is healthy. And then if you want to, go back to Carr, and that's it. But, yeah, I mean.
Great by any means, but, I mean, what?
No. I mean,
he got sacked 6 times.
I hate to. It's exactly what we expected, guys. I mean, Since the Rattler news broke, what were we saying? Like, what are we talking about? This is a guy being put in an impossible situation.
Yeah.
The team sucks. There's no weapons. Everybody's hurt. The defense is hot garbage. It's an awful team top to bottom with a coach that even before he had an awful team was getting awful results. So what happens when you have a coach that gets awful results that didn't have an awful team before that has an awful team now? You get doubly awful results. Not good. That's simple math. It's not good.
Pretty simple.
I guess I got to hop on the pirate ship with Taylor now. Are we just Baker boys? Are we? Because I can't
be a Bush League Bolt.
I can't. No. Well, I'm not really going to cheer for the Bucs. I more mean like this is a lesser of two evils situation. I can't have Kirk Chains and the Falcons go off here, and so I might have to pinch my nose and dive back into 10-year-old T-Bob's heart and refine the love of Mike Allstott and Wark Dunn and Derek Brooks.
Oh, they were awesome. John Lynch,
Simeon Rice, Warren Sapp. I loved Warren Sapp.
Did you say Boog already?
Boog, great call. The guy that won Super Bowl MVP, Dexter
Jackson, safety.
Charles or whatever, something like that. Dexter
Jackson.
Dexter Jackson.
Yeah, Dexter Jackson.
Rondé Barber.
Yeah, this Bucs
John
are good.
Lynch. It's a good team.
I got
team,
all of those guys that you just mentioned. We went and played Tampa my rookie year, and it was all of their last year, and it was awesome.
Yeah, because it was like seeing like celebrities,
yes,
like all over the field.
Yes.
Either way, yeah, if Lester, now that the Saints are right there with the Panthers, just eating the slop, just licking up Bourbon Street gutter juice outside of Visions.
God.
I'm gonna have to hope that the Bucs can stop the Falcons here.
All right, so the offense, we look at the offense for the Saints, it's hard to even recognize some of the names on there, right? You gotta be like the biggest fan maybe in the world to recognize it. It's deep cuts all over the place. Okay, we get that. And you got to play complementary football, and one does have something to do with the other. But I feel like the defense is getting kind of a pass here. I mean,
not from me, brother. Not from me. Because after Philadelphia, when everybody was saying that was a good defensive performance, and I was looking at the box score, which again, ladies and gentlemen, why it's so important to look at the box score and look at the context. When I saw 8 yards per play or 8 yards of rush, whatever it was in Philly, and I said, hold on a second, this doesn't seem good. And then Atlanta, I saw 6.8 yards per play, and then against the Bucs, I saw 7 yards per play. I'm thinking, hold on a second. We're having a leaky defense here. All right? And it just hasn't stopped. And it doesn't matter if it's Sean Tucker. It doesn't matter if it's Jaleel McLaughlin. It doesn't matter if it's Javonte Williams. All you can eat for running backs against the New Orleans Saints. Like Jacob just said, the injuries are on the offensive side. The rookie quarterback is on the offensive side. So why is the defensive side with Tyrann Mathieu, Marshawn Lattimore, Demario Davis, Cam Jordan, Chase Young, Brian Brzee, Carl Granderson, why does that side suck? Like that's the question. And it's not just suck. It is the worst defense in the NFL. It has collapsed from top 5, top 10, top 15 to top 32.
Mario Davis played 65 plays. Jordan Howden played 65. Tyron played 64. Lante Taylor played 52. Willie Gay, Marshawn Lattimore played 50. Carl Granderson played 47. Brian Brzee played 40. My point is, those are your guys.
Yeah.
That's
the defense is not.
Cam Jordan, Kool-Aid, Paulson. I mean, you look at it, these are your guys. And it's awful. It's terrible. And it's a unit that was really good a year ago.
That's why, like, when they were talking about Kirk Cousins or Derek Carr or all that stuff, or Spencer Rattler, it's like Jake Hayner. It's like that does not have anything to do with the biggest issue that we face week in and week out. The biggest issue that we face week in and week out is we cannot get the other team off the field because they are chewing up 7-ish yards per play. The Kansas City Chiefs had 40 minutes of offense. 40. And they ran for less than 4 yards a carry. How is that possible? Sean Tucker had 140 yards and 2 touchdowns. Like, that is the problem. So all this talk about Hayner and Rattler and Olave and Carr and Kamara and McCoy and Taysom. Like, yeah, it's valid to talk about why the offense looks different than it did in the first 2 weeks, but the last couple of weeks of we need to learn how to tackle, the effort, all this other stuff like that is the craziest part of a very crazy season.
And they're not just bad right now; they're historically bad.
32, yeah.
That Broncos offense is not good.
No,
it's
I mean, they can't
at
stop
all.
the run to save their life, dude. They get run all over. And remember last game we said my old man was talking about how he's been, playing football, covering it 50 years, and he's never seen a box score where 5 DBs were the top 5 leading tacklers.
Yeah, well, back-to-back weeks. Back-to-back weeks, because I looked at that box score. Demario Davis was like our second leading tackler. I think the other, 6 of the top, 5 of the top 6 or 6 of the top 7 are all DBs. Back-to-back weeks. Like, this is not an anomaly. You don't give up 7 yards per play for 5 consecutive weeks, and it just be like a weird, oh, well, we're just missing tackles, or, oh, well, whatever game script. They're just like a fundamental breakdown in this defense.
That's a team that is just getting dominated.
It reminds me of the Yips. I said this before the game, but it reminds me of when a professional baseball pitcher, like we've seen it before, where like Rick Ankiel did it famously, where a pitcher all of a sudden cannot throw to the catcher. And he's throwing it like off the screen. He's bouncing the ball, and it's called the Yips. And it's a phenomenon where like sports psychologists study this and talk about this, where something happens to where it basically breaks the, the neurotransmitter that sends like brain signals to your actions. And players who have done these actions millions of times at an elite level over the course of their life, all of a sudden can't do it. We've seen golfers who all of a sudden cannot hit the ball. We've seen, like I said, baseball players who cannot throw. They cannot throw it home. They cannot throw it to first base. Like they have some kind of weird thing. That's what it feels like has happened to this defense, that the defense is just an unexplainable phenomenon where a whole host of all pros, a whole host of seemingly good players, and I understand that they're all older, and I understand that players do fall off at a certain age, but the idea that like Demario Davis, Cam Jordan, Tyrann Mathieu, like these players went from all pro level, maybe not so much Cam, because Cam wasn't great last year either, but from Demario to go from let's just say an 85 in Madden to now like a 65, and all these players to drop this dramatically over the course of 7 months from last season to this season, to where they're all now collectively at the same time horrible. It blows my mind. There's not an answer for it.
Up front, in the front 7 in the box, and that looked like it last night.
You had 4 starters grade below 45%.
Yeah, I mean, look, you're cooked and old on defense, okay? That was the one thing Dennis Allen had going for him. He's a defensive coach.
Saying.
The Saints had been a stalwart defensive team, top 5 each of the last 2 years, which is very good. That's how they were even sniffing the playoffs in the first place.
Yep.
Or it was top 10, then top 5. And now you're like bottom 5. I mean,
Yeah.
what do you do well?
Nothing.
How in the world are Mickey Loomis in this front office going to continue to justify staying the course? Because you think of
There is no course, brother. There is no course. It's over. That's what I'm saying. When I said the chapter is closed, like that's what I'm talking about. There is no course. There is no staying the course. There is no next year. There is no next year of Dennis Allen. There's no next year of Derek Carr. There's no next year of Alvin Kamara. There's no next year of this defense as we know it. The chapter is closed. The book is done. Like, oh, well, I can't wait to see what happens to this character in the next book. There is no next book. The character storyline is over. Like, that's it. The finale happened. The credits are rolling. So stay the course to what? Who? We're charting a new course. And the sooner the better as far as I'm concerned.
of yourselves like the Pittsburgh Steelers when you look at yourselves in the mirror and you're not rash or reactive because you're above it, aren't you? You're above everything. You're above the fans. Who gives a damn about them? F them. Let them eat cake. Get the hell out of here, dude. Something has to be done.
Do you
Absolutely
think,
absurd. And if you want to wait till after season, sure, whatever. But something has to be done.
Yeah, I mean, you're dead last in yards given up this year in the NFL, and that's your head coach's side of the football.
By a significant amount. Last I checked was like 50 yards per game.
Gosh, he was just comparing him and Tom Landry not that long ago.
It's almost worth playing. Just cocky gum smacking and
the drop off is something that should be studied, because last year we all saw the rankings. Dennis Allen, number 1 defensive play caller. This defense, top 10 defense. These players grade out very well. And then to see it, like, really think about that. Like, think about who, like, the number 1 quarterback is. Or think about an offense. Who do you think is, like, last year would have graded out as the number 1 offense? Probably, like, I don't know, let's just say Detroit. Or let's say San Francisco was the number 1 offense last season. Could you imagine if right now San Francisco was the 32nd offense? You can't even fathom that kind of a drop-off. You can't even fathom, like, well, what if the Ravens were all of a sudden the 32nd offense? What if Patrick Mahomes was all of a sudden ranking as the 32nd quarterback? What if, like, all of a sudden the San Francisco 49ers are the worst offense and they're averaging 6 points per game? You can't even fathom it. It's like, it doesn't even seem possible. How can a drop off like that happen so fast? And that's what we're seeing with the Saints defense. And that's not even, I'm not even factoring in Dennis Allen as a head coach. I'm not even factoring in the injuries. It's just straight up the defense. How has the defense fallen off that much? Because even if they quit, even if they're getting older, even if they're physically falling off just a little bit because of their age or whatever else, I would be like, okay, that makes sense to go from top 10 to like 20, top 10 to like 23rd, like below average. But to go from that to dead last by far, historically, like record-settingly bad, this is not a below average defense. This is a historically bad, one of the worst defenses the league has ever seen from a stats perspective. How the hell did that happen? How did it happen? It's insane.
Just, I know more than you, which is true, but you don't have to know. Guess what? That's the funny part about this business. It's results based. So I don't care if you've never touched a football in your life. You can understand conceptually 2-5 is awful. 32nd out of 32 is awful.
True.
Like, these are not hard concepts to grasp. Argue against that. Just smacking gum ass. But that's what you get. The night you honor your God, when he ascends to heaven, the party's poorly thrown. There's rioting in the streets. There's trash everywhere. It smells like crap. Just pathetic. Really bad. Really bad. But I don't know. Enjoy the journey or something. I don't know. You still watch on Sundays.
I'll watch.
I mean, what are you looking for even if you watch? Are you looking for like...
Well, I mean, you know, if you're a self-respecting individual, you're heavily betting on every single game. So you're trying to cash tickets. But otherwise, you're looking at young players. You're seeing what you got in Spencer Rattler. You're seeing what you got in Bub Means. You're seeing what you got in Kendra Miller. You're seeing what you have in Trevor Penning and Talise Fuaga. That's pretty much it, really. Like, you're watching, if that's like how the season progresses and these guys keep playing, which I'm sure they will, you see what you got in Chris Olave, and that's it, I guess. You're watching a lot of college because you're going to draft a hell of a player. I mean, right now the Saints are going to have a top 7-ish pick, and you're bad at almost every position, so you could draft whoever you want. So do you draft Travis Hunter, do you draft the best lineman in college, whether you think it's Will Campbell, or you draft, do you go all in and draft Cam Ward? Do you draft a quarterback? Do you draft Shedeur Sanders? I don't know. So a lot of options. Do you draft the best defensive lineman? Do you draft the best linebacker? A lot of options.
Because there's no young pieces to really get excited or latch on to. You feel years and years away from being relevant in any way. You should probably just go give AK, Cam, anybody else like a chance to maybe go do something somewhere else if they've got anything left. I don't think Cam and Damari do. I do think AK does. He deserves better.
Yeah.
What did he have last night? Was it?
I don't care. I don't blame AK's numbers because AK,
No, I'm not even talking about for his performance. I'm just talking about getting him integrated in the game plan.
Yeah, he didn't do anything. He had 7 carries for like 11 yards.
I'm not going to be like
6 catches for 10 yards.
Oh my gosh. No, look.
He had awesome numbers when they actually had like a couple other weapons that teams had to worry about.
He had 7 carries, 10 yards, 1.4 yards per carry. Had 6 catches for 14 yards, 2.3 yards per catch.
Yeah. But again, it's the game plan in the Saints offense right now might be the easiest game plan that an NFL D coordinator would ever.
Yeah. You just blitz. You just pack the box, blitz. The offensive line is, honestly, doesn't even need to be out there. Like, just put up some mailboxes and, let raffle off the chance to snap the ball, and that's it.
Come across. Wow.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Tough times down here in Houdatville. I'll tell you that. I don't see any other way. It looks like we are staring down a full-scale rebuild. It's a whole new chapter. Go ahead and call the season ticket office. Season tickets should be pretty cheap. Get grandfathered in. Watch college football on Saturdays. Try and start figuring out who you want to draft. That's it. It's turn south quick. All right, let me know in the comments what you think. Thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate it, and I will see you in the next video.